The honorary degree will now be awarded. Mr. President, will you please present the honorary degree candidate, Stephen Jarislowsky?
Mr. Chancellor, it is my privilege to present Stephen Jarislowsky, a distinguished Canadian whose dedication to community is as inspiring as his achievements in business are impressive. Patience and truth are the cornerstones upon which Stephen Jarislowsky has built his impeccable reputation as a corporate leader of principle and a philanthropist of vision. Born in Germany, he was educated in the Netherlands, France, and later the United States, where he studied mechanical engineering at Cornell. After completing basic training in the United States Army, he studied Japanese at the University of Chicago before serving in counterintelligence in Japan after the war. He then returned to Chicago to complete his Master of Arts in Asian Studies and later took an MBA at Harvard Business School. His unique journey eventually brought him to Canada, and this country has benefited ever since from his industry and good judgment. In 1955, he founded Jarislowsky Fraser and Company Limited. As its chairman, chief executive officer, and former president, he has led the Montreal-based company to its present position as one of Canada's largest investment management firms. And for more than 50 years, Stephen Jarislowsky has held true to a single goal: the defense of the shareholder. He has been a wise counselor to countless investors, an outspoken champion of strong corporate governance, and a formidable critic of corporate excess. As a director of several institutions, such as the Canadian Coalition for Good Governance and the C.D. Howe Institute, he offers sage leadership and advice. Indeed, it is a truism in Canadian business that when Stephen Jarislowsky speaks, the business world and his peers listen. His search for excellence embraces the broader community. His steadfast support of higher education is evident in the 20 eponymous chairs he has endowed throughout Canada. These encompass many fields in the sciences, in art, in history, and public policy. And this institution now has been one of the fortunate beneficiaries of his generosity and foresight. His exceptional gift to SFU has created the Stephen Jarislowsky Chair in Religion and Cultural Change, a permanent legacy of Mr. Jarislowsky's own intellectual interests and his academic work on religious and social change in medieval Japan, a tribute to SFU's legacy of exceptional scholarship in history and the allied social sciences, and a permanent endowment that will assure this university's leadership in teaching and research on this important subject. For his many contributions to business and society, he has been made an Officer of the Order of Canada, a Knight of the National Order of Quebec, and the recipient of numerous honorary degrees. Today, we pay our special tribute to this man who has asked little but given so much. Mr. Chancellor, on behalf of the Senate of this university, I ask that you now confer on Stephen Jarislowsky the degree Doctor of Laws honoris causa.
Stephen Jarislowsky, by virtue of the authority vested in me and in the Senate of this university, it gives me great honor to admit you to the degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa. Dr. Jarislowsky will be hooded by Dr. Bill Crane, Associate Vice President, Academics.
Turn and face the audience and then remove your hat. Pause for a few pictures. You could turn and shake the Chancellor's hand.
Thank you for this great honor.
And next, the President.
Thank you.
And my own. And I'm going to escort you this way. You're going to sign our registry.
It is now my pleasure to call on Dr. Jarislowsky for his convocation address. Dr. Jarislowsky.
Mr. Chancellor, members of the Board of Governors, trustees, Mr. President, friends, parents, and not least graduates of today's class graduating at Simon Fraser. When I first thought of giving this address, I thought of possibly writing a long text for you, but I basically have decided against that. First of all, let me tell you that for many years I always felt that getting an honorary degree was one of the finest ways of going through college, because you walked in one side on one day and you walked out the other side. But your chancellor, who is a great friend of mine, yesterday set me straight. We said it because he felt that somebody who gets this degree has worked a lifetime to earn it. I'm not totally sure of that, namely that I earned it, but I am very grateful that I'm here today. Now, I'm fully aware that students who are graduating don't usually listen to what an old fogey like myself has to say. They're far too interested in their own graduation, in the fact that they're finally done with the school and that they can throw their head up in the air like the cadets at West Point and say, "This is it." Well, it isn't quite that easy. And I'm going to try today, and I hope that you will listen and carry something forward from what I have to say, even though the chances of it are relatively slim. It is my view that the most important thing which you learn in college is to organize material, to really think it through, and once you have thought it through, to come up with an understanding, and a real understanding brings also about a love of what you have been studying. When I look at my career in university, and they were read off by your president, I'm overeducated. And when I look at the universities which I attended, the thing that was the most obvious to me is those professors who I remember to this day. There are not too many. And to be honest with you, for my engineering school, I don't remember a single one. When I went to University of Chicago and took a master's, I had 3 great professors, and each one is still part of my life today. One was a professor of history, one was a professor of Far Eastern art, and one was a professor of comparative religion. And they have inspired me, and they have given me the feeling and the understanding that once you have this understanding, you have to go further. You have to act on that understanding, and you have to take your life in hand, and you have to, if you have the education which you have and I have had, you have to set an example for other people in your life and in your community. You owe that. That is, I think, the most important thing which you owe. You also owe to be ethical in your life, not because ethical in itself is such a wonderful thing, even though it is, but if you live an ethical life, it is so much easier to achieve real success in life and to receive real acceptance of your community. As an example, I came to Montreal in 1949, and contrary to a lot of people in large cities where there are a great number of ethnic communities, I made it a point of living and working with every ethnic community that could be in my way, especially, of course, the majority, which is the French community. And let me tell you, the president said that I was a Knight of the Order of Quebec, but this year, 2 civil servants retired, one who was the man who led the Quiet Revolution together with the Premier, recommended me to the highest grade and the 3 grades in the Order of Quebec, the Grand Officier de l'Ordre National du Québec. And I can tell you, by and large, this has been only received by French Canadians with 1 or 2 exceptions, and there are only 3 people in the whole province who receive it. I tell you, I was more touched by this that I had been meaningful to that community, the French community in Canada, and it's one of my greatest prides in life. Now, other than your professors, the professors you remember and who had an influence on your life, you have to go further. Once you have left here, you have to look around for mentors, people you admire, people whose life has real meaning to you to follow as an example. And you have to cherish these relationships because they are to be cherished, and you owe it as a further debt to provide the same type of relationship to the younger people who come after you. That, to me, is life. In the long run, money, while important, position, while important, the really important things are your family, your friends, and the respect of the community you live in. And I leave that with you. True leadership is leadership where people push you over the wall instead of hanging on your feet. Good luck to you, and I hope some of this will be remembered. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jarislowsky.